believe it.
Yeah, where's the purse?
Mini size.
Show the brooch. Here we are in Hollywood, going on the grave tour. Happy birthday. Thanks.
Where?
Eating and drinking.
Where?
He's walking in the mortician suit.
I don't.
Excuse me.
Did we take you from your lunch?
Are you?
The weird one? Oh, the in the wide. Oh, got ya.
The weird one.
Hi,
in the
John.
wide.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How old are you?
29.
That's hardly over the hill.
Sure.
Huh?
That's a good one, John.
You guys look great. Well, I'm glad you're here early. We can take off. I'm just munching down my Burger King. Fuck for Burger King.
Did you get paid?
Was this a surprise? Did he know?
No.
Well, he knew we were coming for cake.
I changed.
Oh. That's important.
And Roberta and Jenny and Richard.
Roberta.
Becky.
Beatrice.
Becky boy.
Beatrice, oh yeah. Oh God. Did you get many stairs walking around?
No.
Like from the valley.
Oh, there you go.
You must change it now. It's very hard to find.
Oh. See, this,
I really had to track you down.
well,
I wanted this.
it was the horrible answering service that you got from it.
Did you see a button on his neck? It's a button. Listen.
I lay.
We here.
I got it too early.
Hey. Let me open this up and air it out because it's been sitting here.
Oh, he'll like it that way. Let's see.
Greg.
We do him.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we have to see that.
Are you all locals? You all live here in LA?
Yeah.
What part?
Can't you tell?
Well,
Pennsylvania?
yeah.
Huh?
Aired at, pointed at, honked at.
View the remains of over 75 of Hollywood's spooky and kooky attractions, most of which were dug up exclusively for this tour. Every site you will be seeing today has been researched.
It'll cool off as soon as we get into Beverly Hills, about 15 minutes.
Included that cannot be substantiated. You will be exposed and at most of the places we will be able to come to a full stop for pictures.
We'll be passing slowly in front of the motel, and you can see the room where she died. It's in front, just 3 rooms to the right of the entrance. She lived in the town of Larkspur, California, outside San Francisco. And Harriet. On the right was their home for the last 25 years, and you might remember this angle of the house with the opening credits rolling over it. Ozzie Nelson died here of cancer on June 3rd, 1975. He never smoked or drank, and every day of his life would take a 2-mile swim in the Pacific Ocean, which is probably what killed him. In 1944, they began their series, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, on radio. Found dead in his house on the right, in this red brick building, on the morning of March 23rd, 1964. Lori's maid had come to rouse him out of bed because he was due in divorce.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, this is where Divine died, right here at the Regency, the Plaza Suites Hotel, room 211 for all you Divine trivia fans. Actually, we don't have anybody on the tour that's died in the past 5 years, but Divine was our first customer, so we figure we get special dispensation.
On the left,
is a white building with purple
Schwab's.
stripes that says Halloween. It used to say Schwab's Drugstore, and Over the Rainbow was written right in front of it. In 1938, Harold Arlen was an MGM songwriter assigned to The Wizard of Oz, MGM's first Technicolor fantasy picture. He needed to come up with a song for Dorothy, a transitional piece to describe her. Had everything auctioned off. The large gray castle-like structure up ahead on the right is the Chateau Marmont, made famous by the drug overdose death of John Belushi. He checked out on March 5th, 1982 at the age of 33.
Okay, he didn't die in the hotel. He died in these bungalows here, number 3. Right there with the bay window is number 1. 2 is just beyond it, and number 3 is back there where that wrought iron fence is, where there's no tree on the other side of that guy. Where the wrought iron fence is. What? 3. Yeah, right over there.
Where are you?
The bloated
You know, Annie Hall, Woody Allen wrecked his car there in the parking lot, and then Richard, up there on the hill above it, if you can pan up, that's Bela Lugosi's home in 1937 and 38, where he began his 20-year morphine addiction. Made me like him more. Over here on the left, this white building, right, on the far left, that black plate is.
Someone once said, watching Marilyn Monroe on screen was like being smothered in baked Alaska.
Right here.
She used to wiggle up that walkway to her apartment, the one on the left, laden with packages from her favorite Beverly Hills store, Saks. Marilyn was 28 years old when she lived here, and like most of her addresses, it was not for very long. In 1954, she had begun filming The 7-Year Itch, much to the dismay of her new husband, baseball hero Joe DiMaggio, 49.
On top in the middle.
Father of David and Sean Cassidy, an ex-husband of Shirley Jones. Here in this apartment building on the right is where firefighters found his charred body, so badly burned that positive identification was impossible. At first, it was believed to be the body of another victim, as Mr. Cassidy was supposedly in Palm Springs and his car was not in the garage. But hopes were dashed when a friend returned with his car a few hours later, and dental charts confirmed that it was Jack Cassidy. He had owned the building and been smoking in bed when he dozed off and a lit cigarette rolled off of the ashtray and onto the couch where he was napping. Within minutes, the apartment was ablaze and he died from smoke inhalation and extensive burns. His family decided to go ahead and have him cremated. Stayed when he was in Los Angeles. It was the scene of some of the most hellacious sex, drugs, and rock and roll parties Hollywood would ever see. Morrison, he was nominated for an Academy Award for the picture, followed by another nomination for the movie Exodus. On the night of February 12, 1976, he was returning home from a play rehearsal when he was violently stabbed to death. It happened here, in the carport of his apartment on the right. Marvin Mitchelson, the famous palimony lawyer, owned the building at the time, and his mother was one of the residents who heard Minio's screams. By the time paramedics arrived, 37-year-old Sal Minio had bled to death. The case of the floor kitchen window on the left side of the building. A bad LSD trip compelled her to fling herself to the pavement as her boyfriend desperately grabbed at her clothing to prevent her suicide.
Right there.
All this happened about
Direct
10 o'clock
hit.
on the morning of October 4th, 1969. She was only 20 years old. Diane Linkletter is buried in Forest Lawn.
If you look hard to your right over his right shoulder.
If you look hard to your right, you'll see the Old World Restaurant, where Alfred Bloomingdale, one of Ronald Reagan's 1980 kitchen counselors and the co-founder of Diners Club, met his 17-year-old mistress, Vicki Morgan. They carried on a bizarre 12-year affair which consisted mainly of sadistic beatings for Miss Morgan and various other prostitutes in wild sex parties up in the Hollywood Hills. Then Al contracted cancer, and as he lay dying in the Santa Monica hospital, Vicki Morgan shattered his privacy, embarrassing the Reagan's friends by suing him for palimony and making public the lurid account of his Jekyll and Hyde sexual preferences. Al died on August 20th, 1980, and Vicki Morgan carried on with the suit, but eventually lost. Before John Belushi died, he threw a star tantrum outside those glass doors. He entered the store, probably high, and went behind the counter acting pushy and demanding service. The owner, Gil Turner, came out from the office and told him to cool. But when she flicked a cigarette at Turner, who grabbed him by the arm and shook him off the front doors and then locked him.
It was filmed there at the Doheny house right up there. Cost $6,000 a day to film there. Yeah. What else? Oh, the Loved One. They filmed part of the Loved One up there too. A lot of different things. You'll see it. It's on the tour. I'll give you the address later.
Beverly Hills, the most popular, were painted black. His tin costume was not tin at all, but it was made of leather and then painted silver. This was his house across the street on the left, the white one with the column. His death, 6 years later. Needless to say, he never married. He died here too on October 13th, 1966, and you can visit their side-by-side tomb at Hollywood Memorial Park Cemetery. Together forever, Clifton and his mother, Maybelle.
Wonderful.
Hospital at the age of 79 on January
Whose
26,
was that?
1973.
Edward G. Robinson, folks.
Robinson had a leering Mongolian face.
This is, or actually, it was Vincent Minnelli's house, and you know, Liza lived there with him, and it's where she grew up. You know, Judy was always off in Pill Land.
And here it is, folks, the Beverly Hills Hotel, the Grand Dame of the old guard Hollywood hotels. It opened in 1912 to lure residents out here to the sticks. And back then, it sat in the middle of some lima bean fields and just a handful of homes. The Beverly Hills Hotel has a mystique thicker than LA's smog. It was here where Jacqueline Suzanne wrote, "Once is not enough," and where Aristotle Onassis spent most of World War II. Scores of celebrities have traipsed in and out, and many today, like Warren Beatty, live in bungalows behind the hotel. It has seen its share of romances, too, like Gable and Lombard and Marilyn Monroe and Yves Montand, and Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman, and they were even married. Doubt, because it's where Peter Finch keeled over from a heart attack on
In the
morning
lobby.
of January 14, 1977. The paramedics worked over him for half an hour, but to no avail. He was up for an Academy Award for...
Sometimes he's out there. His garage door's down there. He's out spending his shoot-to-kill money or whatever. It was W.C. Fields' home in the 1930s. He didn't die there. He died in a Pasadena sanitarium of cirrhosis and complications due to alcoholism. This was Eleanor Powell's home for many years. She didn't die there either, but that's where she tap danced her way to fame. This has been told. I heard it from a guy who was a lawyer from CBS, and then it was confirmed from a guy from New York City, so I'm sure it's true. But you know, she's married to Marty Ingalls, and he had a heart. Does anybody know her, first of all, before I tell the story?
Married to
No.
Marty Ingalls is
Shirley Jones.
Cassidy.
Yeah, Shirley Jones, right. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Did I say Denver?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Shirley Jones. I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry. No.
Really,
It's Shirley Jones. Well, I know dirt on Debbie Reynolds too, but.
Okay, so Shirley
So
did
Shirley,
what?
wait, I gotta shut up here because here comes a little attraction. I'll have to finish it in just a second. Charlie Chaplin's
Straight ahead
drive.
is the driveway of George
Right there.
Hamilton, movie star turned Beverly Hills real estate tycoon. But the house was built for Charlie
You
Chaplin.
can just get a piece of the house.
And the
up there,
little
you can see it.
tramp created quite a bit of history up that hill.
See this house here on the hill, and then the patio area to the left of it?
Yeah.
Just above the patio, you can see a white house with a blue awning and a red tile roof nestled in those trees, just an inch above that patio. That's Falcon Lair. That's Valentino's home. It's really a little bigger than that. Do you see it? Can you see it?
Right there, yeah.
Okay, see this brown house right here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, see the patio to the left of it? Just above the patio, you can see a white house nestled in trees on the canyon beyond. Right above it with the blue awning there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it? That's Falcon Lair.
The house at the top of the hill, it's barely in the trees, you see the top of it. I used to date him.
Brag.
From us, there's a hill with two houses on stilts. One of them's kind of a greenish house on the left. Do you see it?
Yes.
Do you see the house on stilts? Okay, the green one. To the left of the green house on stilts is a driveway with a garage, and there's a white garage door that's down, and one door's up, and a white car in the driveway. That's her garage. Her house is just to the left of the garage there. There's goes garage and then a tree, and then her brown house with two windows on the second story. And Sharon Tate's home. Yeah. Oh, we'll be turning around, be on the other side.
And then the guy was
Incidentally, this is Cary Grant's house here at the top. Look at his view.
White trim around
Cary Grant's home is right here, but he died in Iowa.
Sharon Tate was really
Look at his view over there, and that's beautiful.
August 8, 1969. Monty was the darkly handsome yet moody and sensitive screen idol of the 1950s. He had been nominated for Best Actor on 3 separate occasions, but failed to ever win the coveted Oscar. His private life was always kept shrouded in secrecy, but it was common knowledge that he had male lovers and a severe liquor and pill addiction. On this night in 1956, he and actor Kevin McCarthy had been to the home of Elizabeth Taylor and Michael Wilding. Monty swore he hadn't been drinking, that as he was descending the hill, he simply had one of his blackouts. Kevin McCarthy was in a car directly in front of Monty's, and he saw the actor swerving and crash in his rearview mirror.
It's Diane Linkletter. If you want to get up to Falconlear, this is how, or Sharon Tate, you go up Cielo Drive. To Sharon Tate, you go all the way to the end, take a left. To Falconlear, you take a right. Cielo, it's Spanish for sky, I think.
It was on the night of June 16, 1959, George Reeves, the actor who portrayed Superman in the 1950s television series, fired a speeding bullet into his brain. After we passed through this traffic
It'll be just a second.
begin to look to your
We'll be
left.
turned around on the other
This
side.
brown house with a few white birch trees by the curb.
There it is.
Right there.
The story of Superman's death is one of the most mysterious of all Hollywood suicides. That night in 1959, the hill on your right, you'll see a couple of columns that are part of the estate of the late silent screen star Harold Lloyd. In over 300 films, he epitomized the bespectacled victim of life's hard knocks during the 1920s and 30s. Lloyd came to Southern California from Nebraska and began his movie career by playing an extra in some of Thomas Edison's Right during the last years of
These
her
like
life.
snakes looking.
Although she was an accomplished stage and radio actress, she will always probably be remembered as Endora, the sarcastic mother of Samantha in the delightful TV series Bewitched. Miss Moorhead had been married twice and was 69 years old when she died at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota on May 1st, 1974. The greatest songwriting teams in entertainment history.
Judy Garland first had Over the Rainbow played for her in that home. She was a good friend of the Gershwins. This is Rosemary Clooney's house right here, incidentally. She's a terrible alcoholic from what I hear these days. And here's Lucy.
Who wouldn't recognize that theme? Lucille Ball, the queen of American comedy.
Try to get this
lived
wall
in the
over
big
here.
White House at the end of the block on your left. This is the house that she and Desi Arnaz moved into during the
Check
height of
out this
Lucy
wall
years.
over here.
And if you remember the episode where Lucy and Ethel go on the movie star homes tour while in Hollywood, you might recognize the wall surrounding her house.
I'm going to interrupt that. This is Jimmy Stewart's house here. Right here. He bought this corner lot and had the house torn down, and they have their garden there. That's his home. He's really nice. He'll always, if he's out, he'll come out and talk to you and stuff. He's really a nice guy. Sometimes they have these. They also have these like fountains that usually shoot up. Yeah, isn't that cool? And normally they have these like fountains that squirt up, you know, a la Esther Williams, but I don't have one today. Sometimes they don't even have the waterfall on.
Girl starring Barbara Streisand. It was based on the life of comedian Fanny Bryce, and this was her home on the left. Fanny Bryce was discovered in burlesque by the great producer Florin Ziegfeld, and he made her one of his Ziegfeld Follies stars since 1942. Errol Flynn, the dashing film star of movies like Captain Blood, The Adventures of Robin Hood, and The Seahawk, went to a party at the Bel Air home. There were a number of teenagers at the party that fateful night, including underage teenage girls. One that caught Errol Flynn's eye was named Betty Hansen. Poor Betty had had too much to drink and spent most of the evening on her knees, that is, in front of the toilet, vomiting. Flynn, seizing the most of the opportunity, suggested that she accompany him to the second-floor bedroom where she could lie down and get some sleep. She actually bought the overnight and willingly went with Flynn to the boudoir. It doesn't take too much imagination to figure out what happened next, and the following day, Betty told her sister what had transpired. In less than 4 months, Errol Flynn was in court facing a charge of statutory rape. America was enthralled.
Right here's where it happened, where these green awnings
the
are.
scandal actually seemed to increase Flynn's popularity. But Errol, the Tasmanian playboy,
Oh, and get
really
this,
lived a rather
shoot through this
sad
gate
life.
here. What? Look at
He
this
was married
horse.
4 times, twice to the same woman,
Oh,
and began a
great.
downward
love
spiral of
messing
booze
around.
and drugs.
Oh, God.
I think Tammy Baker did the lipstick for that
In
one.
Vancouver,
What a lip liner on that
with a drink
baby.
in his hand and another 17-year-old girl on his arm. He was at the former home of Johnny Carson. When he divorced his second wife, Joanne, in 1972, she got to keep this house as part of the settlement. However, this next story is not about either one of them. Truman Capote was a good friend of the ex-Mrs. Carson. She had given him his own room there for his frequent trips into Los Angeles. He died in his room at that home on August 25th, 1984. A series of male lovers did little to ease the loneliness he felt, and Truman sought refuge in the bottle, both pill and liquor. I am a drug addict, a homosexual, and a genius, he once declared, and several times was
Yeah, really.
during
Are we
television
all?
interviews because of his incoherent and rambling answers. It seemed like he had an opinion of everything, and he once said that living in Southern California was like living in Forest Lawn. Now he knows.
Look at this guy's house. I don't know if you saw it coming around the corner. Look, I mean, we're in Bel Air. I can't imagine what this property's worth, but look at how far up his wall goes here. All we know about him is he's a plastic surgeon. He must be Michael Jackson.
But will shortly be on your right, is the home of Elizabeth Taylor. But back in the 50s and 60s, it belonged to Frank and Nancy Sinatra. On December 8, 1963, Frank Sinatra Jr. had been appearing as a lounge act at Harris Club in Lake Tahoe. 2 strangers in the night kidnapped the young Sinatra, taped his mouth shut, and shoved him into the trunk of a waiting car. The kidnapper, Neth McDonald, she had developed a weakened heart condition and succumbed to a heart attack just before she was to have had open heart surgery in a Houston hospital.
The day
She
before.
died on January 14th, 1965 at the age of 57.
Coming up around this corner.
And is
Straight
interred in
ahead.
Forest Lawn.
There it is. I love the roof, yeah. That gate's never open.
And many of their greatest hits were written there. Incidentally, Mama Cass did not die by choking on a ham sandwich. It was just a routine heart attack brought on by obesity that killed her in her London hotel room in the summer of 1974.
Oh, they're
It's
really...
all boarded up.
Yeah, they're working on it.
The front yard didn't look as big as you expected, did it?
No.
Yes, this is the home used for exteriors in the Beverly Hills.
No is the answer to that
popular
question.
television show of the 1960s. Don't bother looking next door to see if the Drysdales live there. That house is a few blocks away. This 40-room mansion has one of the most interesting stories in Beverly Hills.
This is a great
The builder
story.
was a man by the name of Lynn Atkinson, who earned his wealth in construction projects throughout the West. In 1935, he bought the 12-acre property and hired an architect to begin with the plans. He envisioned
The Reagans are going to move. You remember? Can you zoom in on the mailbox there? The numbers did say 666, but you know Nancy had to change because of the Antichrist business. Yeah. But anyway, that's their home. If you can believe it, it's going to be that close to the curb. If it, you know, and it's right by the cement pond, right by Ellie Mae's cement pond. They can go for a dip.
Established in 1887 by Mr. and Mrs. Harvey Wilcox, 2 prohibitionists
There's the top of it.
Kansas. Mrs. Wilcox
Garbage
was
truck.
married
A garbage truck hit it Saturday.
She had met someone on the train who told her of their farm back east.
They had their that big dumpster thing on top, and they had it up in the air, and the guy didn't realize it. He tried to drive through the gate, and it didn't make it quite.
Wanted to film the Squaw Man. But when the train got there, they found the scenery was unsuitable for their needs and decided
famous back in the 1960s, and a few years later, an eerie prophecy came true. It was a Tuesday afternoon in April 1966
Right here at
when
this intersection.
25-year-old Jan Berry came barreling down that street in front of us, lost control of his sports car, and slammed into a parked truck. It happened right at this intersection, and the young singer was taken to UCLA Medical Center and was in a coma for a year. The fact that he survived it all was a miracle, and years of slow recovery lay ahead. Eventually, Jan and Dean performed together again in 1973 and 78, but the musical wave they had once ridden had long since crested in Beverly Hills, and you're about to see why. It's nicknamed the Witch's House and was designed and used originally as a little-known movie studio's headquarters back in the 1920s. The company went belly up, and the house was purchased to be used as a residence around 1930 when it was moved to this street corner.
I'm Roman Polanski. Well, he got busted in the lobby of the Beverly Wilshire, which is straight ahead, and I'll play the story later, but we'll take a little sidetrack here and go down the alley.
Through
Yeah.
the alley so you can really see the back and
Yeah,
everything.
check this house out. I've never done
You
this
gotta
before.
see there's like frogs and
Oops.
stuff.
Wait a minute here. Yeesh.
Yeah, when he comes by.
There's bicycles behind us.
Oh, there are? Oh, thanks.
Wait till you see the back. The back's even more
The
swirly.
guest house is even cooler.
Yeah, did you see the frogs and the
Yes.
serpents
Oh, I know. And the
everything up
woman
there?
on the chimney, the
Yeah.
face on the chimney.
Yeah. I was watching it being built when it was just the back.
Angle, but there's like a
Yeah, you
face
gotta
on the
look up
chimney.
here.
And check out the
You can lay on
gutters.
my lap. Look at the frogs and the
Yeah.
butterflies.
And all that's all mosaic on the ground there.
But the back, I think, is better than. Can't you
Oh,
turn down
yeah.
here?
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know if yeah, I guess I
You
could.
can fit through there.
I don't know if I can actually. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I can. Yeah, the back's really
The
cool
back,
too.
and then there's like all these animals' faces and women up on the top and
Isn't that neat?
the door
I wish you could see. Yeah, like there's.
and the mosaic
I wish
on
you
the floor.
could see the face on the roof. Isn't that incredible? I mean, it looks like somebody on acid obviously designed it. Oh, that mosaic! I mean, it's you can't even imagine how long it must have taken.
Has seen its share of illicit goings-on, but we'll be concentrating on just one scandal. Roman Polanski was busted in the lobby of the Beverly Wilshire Hotel in May of 1977. He was accused of drugging and raping a 14-year-old girl in the home of actor Jack Nicholson earlier that year. And Roman went through several court hearings. And when it became apparent that he was about to be thrown in the slammer, he boarded a jet to Paris and hasn't returned yet. Clara Bow was known as the It Girl. And if you put a T in front of that, you get a pretty good idea of her reputation off-screen. This was her home on the right in the 1920s and 30s, where she reportedly took on John
know.
Gilbert, Gary Cooper, Eddie Cantor, Frederick March, Bela Lugosi, and the entire USC football team. That's right. In a blackmail attempt that backfired, her former secretary spilled the beans to the newspapers that it was here in 1927 that Clara Bow entertained the Thundering Herd, the University of Southern California's championship gridiron squad. Clara, apparently enjoying the position of tight end, held several skirmishes for the team in drunken all-night orgies. But then came the talkies, and fans were disappointed to learn that far from having a snooty, sophisticated voice, Clara spoke with a flat Brooklyn accent. The sounding music you're hearing is the voice of Brazilian bombshell Carmen Miranda, who, despite the fruits of her labors, not to mention her headdresses, died of a heart attack here in her home on the right at the age of only 41. She had filmed a television show for Jimmy Durante just hours before her death, and then had invited the cast and crew over to her house for a wrap party. Always the entertainer, she danced and sang for her guests with her skirts whirling, eyes rolling, and her hips and hands in constant motion. Inside the white two-story house lay the body of a 32-year-old underworld figure, Johnny Stompanato. He had just been stabbed by the 14-year-old daughter of sweater girl, Lana Turner. We'll freeze frame that story for a moment and ask you to look to your left to see the home featured in the film Down and Out in Beverly Hills, starring Richard Dreyfuss, Bette Midler, and Nick Nolte. Now, back to Lana. This particular night,
She killed him right in that bedroom, right here on this corner on the second story. Right there was where it happened.
he was threatening her again, and Lana's daughter Cheryl was listening at the door, frightened for her mother's life. She went down to the kitchen, got a butcher knife, and went back. Hours, Cheryl found herself in the Beverly Hills jail. Lana hired Jerry Giesler to defend her daughter, but the best he could do was to get her to serve time at the Elmer's Iron Country Home for girls. The name is rarely mentioned today, but in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, the name Lupe Velez meant the Mexican Spitfire. She appeared in nearly 50 films, but is probably best known for her dramatic Hollywood-style suicide on December 14, 1944. Then she lit some enormous candles around her deathbed, piled flowers all over herself, checked her hair and makeup, folded her hands across her breast, and died. Cecil B. DeMille couldn't have staged it better. sophisticated career woman in films for 3 decades, and then made her biggest hit as the uninhibited Annie Mame. She had been born in Connecticut and was a graduate of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. By 1930, she had made it to Broadway, and then debuted in her first film in 1934. By 1960, she had been nominated for 4 Academy Awards, but was never to take home the Oscar. She was a devout Roman Catholic and attended the Good Shepherd Catholic Church, which you saw a few minutes ago. Her funeral was at that church, and her pallbearers included Cary Grant, Henry Fonda, Robert Wagner, Jack Lemmon, and Kirk Douglas. She is buried in Holy Cross Catholic Cemetery.
I know some dirt on Rosalind Russell. She was supposedly this very kind, lovely woman, but really she was rather bitter and vindictive, and her husband was her hatchet man. His name was Frederick Brisson. And if Rosalind was working on a picture with a lady who was prettier than she was, or had a better figure, or a better voice, or blue eyes, or whatever, she would have her husband get rid of him, and apparently he didn't do it very diplomatically. He was known around Hollywood as the Wizard of Roz. And I just finished a book about the Beverly Hills Hotel, and they were saying that the staff hated it when they would come to the hotel because they never tipped at all, and so she was not well liked there.
This house on the left was the the pre-20s idea of the femme fatale, a demon of depravity and merciless enslaver of men in such films as Carmen, Cleopatra, and Salome. Her publicity-minded studio, Fox, spread the word that this poisonous, exotic creature was the love child of a European artist and an Arab princess, born in the shadows of the Great Pyramids, and a descendant of past kings of Egypt. Her name, according to the legend, was Arab, spelled backwards. That was the Hollywood version. Actually, she was the shy, good-humored, and short-sighted daughter of a Cincinnati tailor, born with the plain name Theodosia Goodman. But in the early days of celluloid fantasy, the public was willing to accept any legend about the dark-haired actress. She lured customers to the box offices by the thousands with her heavy-witted beauty. The film empire of William Fox was built on the appeal of Theda Bara. She was his first great star. Within her first 4 years on screen, she had completed over 40 films. She was retired by 1926 and never even made a talkie. Theda Bara died at the age of 65 in 1955. No other star in the history of motion pictures has so mesmerized the public as did the original sex goddess, the lovely Jean Harlow. She was the embodiment of the world's image of the Platinum Venus. She was dead by the age of 26. Everybody loved Jean Harlow. She was known around Hollywood for her many kindnesses and gentle demeanor. In May of 1937, she collapsed in the arms of Clark Gable on the set of Saratoga and was sent home. She had a seriously inflamed gallbladder added to her weakened kidneys and showed signs of uremic poisoning. Her neurotic stage mother was a staunch Christian Scientist and refused to believe that the sickness was real. She would not allow any doctors to treat or even see her daughter. For days, Jean Harlow languished in this house on the left, in the bedroom above the carport.
Nice-looking pink house up here on the right is about 3 in the morning and found him dead in bed. Now this house on the left...
The house on your left is where Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio spent their marriage, all 9 months of it. This was their honeymoon home, and as you heard earlier, the honeymoon ended when jealous Joe witnessed the skirt scene in the 7-Year Itch. It is a certain irony that she should live just one door down from Jean Harlow. The two were alike in many ways. Both loved champagne, both slept in the nude and preferred not to wear any underwear at all. Both lived on this street. Both starred opposite Clark Gable in their last film. Both died at the peak of their careers, and both requested their personal makeup artist prepare them for their funeral. Marilyn died. Those surgical wards have bobbed many a nose, lifted many a breast, and shaped chins, eyes, ears, and any other part of the anatomy that money will buy. See the 1959 Cadillac sticking out of the roof of that shopping center? That's the Hard Rock Cafe. If you don't mind waiting in line for 2 hours for a table, this is the restaurant for you. It's enclosed in the Beverly Center, the shopper's equivalent to heaven.
Was soon dubbed the bad boy of Hollywood, famous for his drunk driving arrests and
urban drive in a popular architectural style of the times called streamlined modernere. The 1960 Democratic National Convention was held here. The building was originally built as a temporary structure to house an appliance mart. It also played a part in the Barbra Streisand movie Funny Lady when they used it as the old NBC radio studio.
There's a lot of the gaudy kind of statuary and trees up there on the left, but that was Lee's home. Yeah, and there's you can see his greenhouse back there. Up here on the right, the El Coyote, I guess you're probably familiar with it. This is the restaurant where Sharon Tate and her friends ate the night they were murdered. They came here to the El Coyote and left about 9:30 and went home to their slumber party. A lot of people think it wasn't the Manson, but it was the food that killed them. I don't think their food's that bad.
At 49, Marilyn Monroe was just another blonde Hollywood starlet without a studio. In the preceding 3-year period, she had been dropped by both 20th Century Fox and Columbia Pictures. She didn't have a job. She was broke. Photographer Tom Kelly had once asked Marilyn to pose in the nude, and she had declined. But in May of 1949, Marilyn could not afford to be so selective. She telephoned Kelly and asked if the offer was still good, which of course it was. On the 27th of that month, Marilyn arrived here at Kelly's studio, the building on the right. He loaded his 8x10 Deirdre View camera. He draped a sheet of red velvet across the floor and put it on the 30s. But you probably recognize it as the Happy Days home of the Cunningham family. Ron Howard went on to producing his own films, Tom Bosley went on to Hefty Bags, and Marion Ross went on to Combat Static Cling.
Poor Marion, the skirt was always sticking to her slip.
Is the building where Mae West lived during her entire Hollywood career.
Did you hear that? Mae West, yeah, she lived on this penthouse on this side at the top, right up here.
She would have her show photographer up here, and she'd sashay through those doors and into the lobby where fans would come clamoring for autographs. She moved into the Ravenswood upon her arrival in Hollywood in 1932, and it was her home for 48 years. Straight ahead, depending on how clear the air is,
between those buildings,
the majestic Hollywood sign near the top of Mount Lee. It was constructed in 1923 as an advertising gimmick for the Hollywood subdivision, and originally it read Hollywood Land. Peg Entwistle was an aspiring British actress, and she had come to Hollywood to repeat in films her great success on the stage. But after only one picture, RKO declined to pick up her contract, and Peg was crushed. On the night of September 18th, 1932, she wrote out a suicide note that said, "I'm a coward. I'm sorry for everything. If I had done this a long time ago, it would have saved a lot of pain. Signed, P.E." Then she climbed up the hill and to the top of the 50-foot-tall glittering letter H that had mocked her for months. And then Peg dove to her death into the darkness below.
This is where NBC Radio was for years, on this corner where the bank. This is where, you know, Bob Hope and Bing Crosby, Jack Benny, Fanny Price, all that stuff. And here's where they made the very first motion picture. The Squaw Man was made right here on this, where this parking lot is, right under Angeline's sign. Okay, this is about the Pantages Theater over there.
The Academy Awards were held there from 1949 to the opening ceremony in the 1930s, and everyone there doing the scanning over led to the building of the great Hollywood Citadel of Cinema. Pantages is the rapist, and Hollywood had another sensational trial to wring its hands over. The jury was smitten with young Eunice, but not so with the bug-eyed Greek tycoon. It granted a new trial, and he obtained fame with a thud when he fell dead from a heart attack on March 3rd, 1966, about 6 in the evening. He had just been to a movie and was waiting to meet a friend when he bit the dust on the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Lovable William Frawley had played on I Love Lucy for 9 years. When Desi Arnaz hired him to portray the gruff landlord, he made it clear that if Frawley's alcoholism ever interfered with his work on the show, that he would be terminated on the spot. He never had to make good his threat. Frawley was 73 years old and is buried in the San Fernando Valley Mission Cemetery. It was built in 1956 and was supposedly the first round office building in the world. Officials said it was just a coincidence that it looked like a stack of records with a stylus on it.
Really, she did.
Unfortunately for us, they tore down the apartment building just last summer. But as we go through the next intersection, look very quickly to your left and you can see the empty lot where it stood.
They're building another building right there now on the spot.
Is where the Fernwood Fleischer found Filmdom's fate. Victor Killian was beaten to death in an apparent robbery attempt in his apartment here in March of 1979.
Did you get everything?
Thank you.
Okay, well, happy birthday, John.
In front of the car.
Do you want any brochures or anything else?
Going in front of the car. Y'all get in front of the car.
Let me take it of you. No, you guys come here. You mean a still photo or a video?
Yeah, still photo.
No, come over here. Let me take it of you guys. Come here.